Hey, everybody, Kevin here with Pursuing Pixels, and welcome back to another edition of Save It for the Cast. And as per usual, I'm going to be kicking the ball over to John Randall and I in just a few minutes here for a little video games chit-chat. I should say a little bit of Super Mario Brothers Wonder chit-chat. This is mostly just a continuation of the conversation that we got into last week on the regular episode. Randall and I just kind of ended up veering into a bunch of other things that we just didn't end up talking about on the proper episode. But yeah, a little more Mario Brothers Wonder chit-chat. That's pretty much the main thing that I've been playing over the past few weeks. I actually just saw the credits roll recently, and Randall and I sat down and recorded a duo episode that'll be coming out next week. We've been doing a little stockpiling for the holidays coming up, so John and I sat down for a duo to talk about a few things. I actually did finally fire up my resolution game for this year for 2023, so John and I are going to be digging into that in a couple weeks, but needless to say, I've definitely been enjoying my time with Anodyne 2 so far, or I shouldn't say needless to say, you never know if a sequel is going to be a proper follow-up or what you're expecting or hoping it to be, so I'll definitely say that I'm enjoying it so far, but I'll just leave it at that until John and I kind of dip our toes into that one as well for some first impressions in a few weeks. But yeah, mostly the stuff that I've been playing, like I said, is Super Mario Brothers Wonder, stuff that either we've already talked about or stuff that we're planning on talking about. Again, John and I sat down and talked about a few things, and the other game that I've primarily been playing lately is I did finally, last week I think I talked about firing up that Ninja JaJaMaru Kun or whatever it's called on the Nintendo Switch Online NES service, and I did finally pick up that Ninja JaJaMaru, the Great Yokai Battle plus Hell, which is like, I've talked about it a few times. I've like hemmed and hawed and just like been unsure if I was going to pick it up or not because with some of these reimagined remakes that we've talked about in the past, and this is published by the same publisher, there seems to be some connective tissue here between the Wild Guns, the Pocky and Rocky, and then that Ninja Saviors, Ninja Warriors re-release or reimagining is kind of the better word I feel to use for those, because I feel like they're like just totally new takes on these games, if you will, but still with that same retro DNA, like not necessarily doing anything fully new, but just really kind of refreshing them and using, taking full advantage of the modern quality of life stuff and what have you. So the one thing different about this Ninja JaJaMaru series or whatever, I don't have that nostalgia for it. I guess I didn't have that nostalgia for the Ninja Savior series, which I really got hooked on that reimagining of that game as well. But, I had fired up this one. I think I even talked about it last week, like I said, like the original NES game. And actually this Great Yokai Battle comes with like a collection of 5 games in the series, like old retro games, mostly from the NES. I think there's one Game Boy game and then one Super Nintendo game. And I fired up all of those actually before playing this one. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if I should have snagged this, but it went on sale for I think like $17 for a physical copy. I had a few Amazon points laying around. So I was like, I really only have to shell out like $7 or $8 of my own actual money on this. So I finally, if I'm ever going to grab it, now's the time. And I will say that ever since firing it up, and even after, going in with really, really kind of low expectations, I really have had a tough time putting this game down. I actually just got done watching the Lions game today, and I got pulled away from playing the game for a second because the Lions made a last minute comeback here at the game. I was like, oh man, it looks like we're going to let this one slip away against the Bears here, which would have been extra painful being that I just moved back to Michigan from Chicago and all my friends in Chicago are always trying to rub it in a little bit. But anyways, that aside, like I was really kind of picking this game up just nonstop, like handheld on my Switch. And I've been doing a ton of that kind of like retro arcadey stuff lately, but kind of playing the more actual retro arcadey stuff, or even playing stuff like Annalyn or Murtop or some of the other like modern indie retro arcadey games that I've been talking about that kind of like as good and fun as they are, I'm just feeling like I wish they had a little more to them. And I feel like this Ninja JaJaMaru Great Yokai Battle plus Hell, whatever the hell you want to call it, is definitely just like up in the ante. Like everything, like it's hard to explain because like the controls and whatnot like don't feel all that much more smooth or snappy or anything like that. Like it definitely feels retro and janky and all that stuff, but they kind of like lean into that. But one of the coolest features in this game is you just like kind of grind almost in like roguelike fashion. It's not like I guess there's like a little bit of like, I was going to say permadeath, but not so much permadeath, but there's a little bit of procedural generation going on in the game in the sense of like just the enemies and the way they spawn. But for the most part, it does feel like a little more of a campaign. You're kind of going through this like 3 waves of stages and whatnot. But anyways, as you like grind and unlock things, the main thing that you're unlocking, apart from like just like museum cool, like either music tracks or unlockables, I haven't actually dug too much into like the extras menus and whatnot to see everything that I'm unlocking. But the main other thing you're unlocking are just new playable characters. And apart from having like 8 or 12 different like ninja characters that you can pick from that all have just like mostly different health stats, slightly different speed, different jump heights. It doesn't really tell you all that much. You can just kind of intuit it as you play as the different characters. But then the other side of the coin is that you actually pretty much can unlock, to the best that I can tell, I haven't unlocked every last thing in the game yet, but you can pretty much unlock every enemy in the game as well, which is super helpful because not only do you see like, oh man, I'm always getting killed by this enemy, now I can, and now that I have them unlocked, I can play as them and start trying to take down some of these enemies myself. But also, it kind of just helps you learn that enemy's behavior a little bit because you pretty much are just utilizing their attacks and their movement capabilities. And like the one thing I'll say about this game is like, well, those other 3, like the Wild Guns, Ninja Saviors, and Pocky and Rocky remakes or reimaginings, whatever you want to call them, they really like kind of lean into like overly polishing and taking these like a step into the next generation. This game kind of leans a little more into, I mean, it's moving a step into like the quality of life and the menus and all that stuff is definitely there. But then it's really kind of leaning into like that retro jank and almost like the gaudy visuals. Like you'll play these like huge bosses that are like these massively oversized sprites that like almost look a little out of place or like a little, I don't know, like I don't want to use the word like ugly, but it's just kind of like a little bit, jarring or janky or whatever. But at the same time, it like really matches the energy of the game. And then again, another huge upgrade too to the game. You can go back and fire up like the original kind of retro style soundtrack, but it kind of defaults to this more modern style soundtrack. And even on like the game's opening menu, there's even like some vocals on the track, like this hip hop track starts coming in. It just the game has so much energy that I was like, I know I'm already going to be talking about this one with John in a couple weeks, but I know there's going to be some things that I end up leaving out. And I'm on the last stage actually right now, which I was not on when I was talking about it with John last, but I've just been chipping away over the last few days since we sat down and recorded that session. And I've just been like, stuck on this final stage. It's very much has the energy to call it the final stage. I don't know, because up in the left corner it says like normal mode, and with that whole like plus hell thing, I got to think that there's some kind of unlockable situation, because otherwise I have no idea what this plus hell thing means at the end of the game's title or whatever. But nevertheless, I mean, it's cool to have that bonus selection of retro games on the cartridge as well, and it's kind of cool that it pops up as a fully separate like icon on my Switch. Well, I get maybe kind of cool, maybe kind of annoying, because now I have one more thing cluttering up my hundreds and hundreds of thumbnails to pick from there on the Switch. But nonetheless, I really, really have been having a blast playing this Great Yokai Battle, reimagining. And I just can't stress enough. I always was like a person for the longest time that I was like, oh, I just want like a true to form remake of the original game. And now I'm just like, no, thanks. I want these like updated, like give me what the game could have been. If it was made now, basically. And I've just been absolutely loving this game, having a tough time putting it down. So yeah, really can't recommend this one enough here. And on that note, I'll kick the ball over to John Randall and I to wrap things up here with a little Super Mario Brothers Wonder chit chat, and I guess a little more Nintendo stuff peppered in there as well. But until next week, we will catch you then, and take care. There's some really cool like enemies. Like have you gotten to those enemies at all, Randall, that are kind of like they're like kind of walking on the ceiling, and then they have like almost like a handle dangling, and you grab them and you kind of like almost bungee off of them?
I don't know.
It feels so fun to like grab those, and like even those, it's kind of like there's some cool we didn't even talk about like how there's like those mechanics where you like kind of grab stuff, like you like unravel those mummies.
Yeah. That's like, a whole mechanic that's so used a lot. Cool, again, that feels more like cool. Donkey Kong to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Mario. Yeah,
it really does. I almost was like, man, I wonder if like retro worked on this at all, or had, if there's any, there's got to be some DNA, because it definitely has that flavor.
It
even
really
the visuals
does.
And stuff. Yeah,
and
even like the set piece-ness of things, like said, like the Tropical Freeze. Both the DKC games had that a little bit.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
You talking about like the not to call a shot, but it sounds like just in terms of how Nintendo designs, I feel like their games nowadays is like there's gotta be levels or like a secret world that is just like challenge, or they're planning a DLC or like a sequel where they are gonna delve a lot deeper into like those mechanics, because Nintendo isn't really a one and done thing, especially for like Mario. Like they have kind of leaned into like the Kaizo levels of like, all right, we built these mechanics and now we're going to take them to their extremes.
Especially after Mario Maker and stuff like that. Although they don't do it with the 3D Mario games. But
not as much.
The 2D, they kind of try to go ham.
I'm only halfway through, and this screams to me that there's going to be a Super Mario Brothers 1 or 2 at some point. I really think so.
Some kind of follow-up to it, yeah.
And maybe that'll be on Switch too, probably, but...
Ooh,
yeah, maybe this is the proof of concept of...
Yeah.
It's definitely solid. And even like some of the stuff, like you can tell they were like trying to like, because they had like some of those levels in New Super Mario Brothers U that had like the kind of like Van Gogh style. Or, I don't know if Van Gogh's the right artist that I'm thinking of.
Yeah. They had this like the Starry Night level. And stuff like that.
Yeah. And I feel like they're even like taking that kind of stuff to the next level on this one.
Yep.
There's some cool stuff.
Yeah.
The boss battles are really fun.
Yeah.
With Bowser Jr. and stuff. Kind of more like a Yoshi's Island kind of feel where it's like,
lots of Yoshi's
comes in
Island.
and makes things crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, like the airship levels are really fun.
There's a couple like scrolling airship.
Yeah, the scrolling level, and they're actually fun. Like usually,
sick.
I kind of dread those levels in Mario 3, and like in this, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
I don't dread those in Mario 3, but I kind of have them memorized, so that probably plays a large factor there. Yeah.
Well, I'm just always like, I just always want to sprint and run through the level, and I'm like, you're not letting me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, that the drill power up is so much fun.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Because you kind of like launch out those like music blocks that you springboard off of big time.
Yep.
The visual background stuff is so cool.
There was some very specific Super Mario World flourish. I think it was like just a bit of like one of the tracks or something that like came out. Maybe it was at the end of a level. I'm like, oh shit, like that's amazing. Like I forgot what exactly.
There's a few touches, even the way like I was almost a little bit disappointed actually, because every time you like clear a castle or whatever, it just kind of like transforms like from the kind of corrupted version into the whatever. And they sometimes do like a little thing, but I for a second, because it has that like Super Mario World flair at the end when you're clearing it, like the little melody there. That might even be what you're talking about. It's like got that like dun 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 dun, like that little like chugging like whatever. And then like in Mario World, there's so many cool little almost like Pac-Man style vignettes where like Mario kind of trashes the castle or erases it and like it's a little bit of a bummer that they don't have those here. Like every now and then they'll be like, oh, a little water sprouts up and the little caterpillar friend that's with you, I forget its name, Prince Florian or whatever, is like just like Florian, gets bursted up, but it's like, oh, I wish like Mario did. Like at first I was like, oh, are they gonna do like little like Mario bombs it and blows it up? Or
it's kind of a little bit
disappointed with that,
considering how much the rest of the game emotes so much. To be honest,
I know. Yeah, it was like, oh, that feels a little like chintzy. Yeah, with everything else around it. Yeah. But I even love how alive like even the overworld feels. Like I'm finding so many little secrets in the nooks and crannies. Like I actually ended up finding there is like a secret zone, and I did find that like it feels like Star World kind of from Super Mario World, and I found that just from like poking around on the world map. Like I didn't even have to do anything crazy.
That desert area, there's a whole bunch you can poke around in there alone.
There's a lot of secrets in there. Yeah. That's where I started realizing actually I was like, oh, the world map might have more going on than I realized.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys are done spoiling this.
Spoilers. Man, it's really fun. I'm definitely going to play another level or two before I go to bed.
I know. Nice. I'm thinking the same, to be honest.
Yeah, I wish it was just like a little more streamlined with like when you're going to check if like, have I done everything on this level or have I not? Like, I wish there was like an easy way to just like look at a list of levels and like, it's kind of works that way, but it's just like a little more tedious.
Yeah.
Because they do that in a lot of the other Mario games. I'm surprised
you can press like a world map or like a map button and then like toggle through the worlds, but it kind of like has like all the levels on the bottom, and they're not like, it's not like, oh, this is world or level 1-1, 1-2. It's kind of like you don't know if you found them all or until like the one time I did get that notification where it was like, hey, you found all the purple coins in world 5, so you get like a 50 bonus flower coins or something.
I've never managed that.
Yeah, I was like, that's the first time I've done it, and I'm on like the second to last world. So
nice.
But yeah, gorgeous game too. Yeah, yes. I know we talked about it a little bit, but yeah, it's such a good, and the music's great too.
Yes.
And I feel like they're doing probably the least recycling they've done of like old Mario tracks in this game. I don't hear much. Like, it's got the same flavor, but it feels new and fresh. It kind of feels a little Tropical Freezy. Yes. Or Donkey Kong Country Returnsy on the music front even.
I agree.
Just like the instrumentation even. Oh man, what if it was David Wise? There's no way. They're not catchy enough. They're not quite as catchy, but they're still really good tunes.
Koji Kondo's on there. Yeah, there's 4 composers credited on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I was wondering if like Koji Kondo just gets the like legacy,
right?
Yeah, like if they're using any of those melodies, because they definitely do use them on like some of these little like bonus. Because some of the bonus levels are not like a little bad, like they call them like break time, and they're literally just like, oh, do some little like mini game kind of thing.
I think that's genius. I really do.
But then some of them,
I think that's fantastic game design.
Yeah, and I do think, especially if you're playing multiplayer, that some of them specifically lend themselves to that. And then some of those break time stages, though, again, have been or badge stages have been some of my favorite levels. Like, they leave me wanting more, but that's sometimes the best thing about a game when you're like, oh man, I wish there was more of that.
Yes,
like it's a better feeling than being like, oh, okay, cool mechanic, but okay.
And even though, like, still talking about this, but, like, even though, like I say, like, oh, the scrolling off the levels is a problem with 2-player. The inverse of that is like some of those levels, the badge levels, the like challenge levels, can be made a lot easier by having a second player that stays on whatever platform they need to stay on. So it pushes the thing down to make the platform stay appeared and makes it so much easier to go get the MacGuffin, whatever. Like that's like it evens itself out, I guess.
Yeah, I totally see that, yeah.
So the voice actor is Kevin Zachary Afghani, who is 26.
Oh shit!
They got this guy for the long haul.
Yeah. They said we need a replacement for the next,
and
there's the next 3
century.
decades.
And he has basically done nothing.
Man,
so, like,
that's
he has
cool.
done like.
I had like a YouTube channel and like impersonating or TikTok impersonating.
Hopefully they're paying
Mario
him decently.
Yeah, like one Dragon Ball.
Doing a great job. Like legitimately, it's awesome. Like, because honestly, like something to the point where like if it's every time you're getting a power up, you're hearing wowie zowie. Like that can be kind of annoying. That can get annoying in a game, and like I don't think it does in this game.
No, yeah.
And I even love that little flare. It almost has like a little Sega flavor for whatever reason to me. Like when you grab a power up and that little like kind of like almost like a little icon like kind of flashes around Mario. Even when you just get like Fire Flower, like the little like 2 like kind of like graphic design things that pop up around him. It's real.
The Fire Flower feels more legit
cool
in this Mario game too, which I appreciate. Yeah,
it does. It does. You got that spin jump, like where you can press R and do that kind of big spin jump.
Yeah.
Almost feels like a super jump.
Yeah.
And then the badges that give you the different like power ups, like even like that was another thing that I was a little bummed about. You don't have that like triple jump anymore where you can do
the somersault.
But they do have a badge that lets you not do a triple jump. It's just like when you jump right when you land, but it's like kind of almost too big. I was like, oh man, this is like throwing me off. So that's why I was just like, I'm just gonna default to this like radar thing. I'm pretty much otherwise I was using that like cap thing, but I was like, I'm never even ever triggering this except for on the badge levels. So
I did that coin dance thing because we wanted to get a bunch more levels or a bunch more lives. We did that one.
Coin dance.
There's like a secret badge in the desert area that like if you hit jump on the beat, you get coins, and if you do it on the 4th, like if 4 in a row, you get more coins, and then that just starts building your lives like crazy because you're getting a life every 100 coins, and you're doing it with 2-player in that instance, and it's just like
So literally jumping just like during the game, like to the beat of the music.
Yeah, and they like make little noises and they're like going along with the music, like every measure basically, like in the song.
That's cool because they actually like the enemies don't do that in this game to the best that I can tell. Because that was one of the things that was like kind of a it was funny and adorable.
You get to do that
in the new Super Mario Brothers games, but it would like throw off your flow. You're trying to speed run and land on these enemies, and then all of a sudden Koopa just goes wah wah, and then you land and right in front of them and run into it, and you're like, you motherfucker! Like if you
that sounds like a skill issue to me. You got to take that into account. You got to ingrain that BPM into your place.
Exactly. I can't deny that did not like make me bust out laughing though the first time.
Yeah,
that was pretty awesome.
I'm gonna fucking play new Super Mario Bros.
I would love, that might be a fun. That would be quite a commitment, but. Like a stream series to just play through all the 2D Mario games.
Go back now with your lens currently.
Okay, that was honestly the run button like series that got me into them was they started playing all of the Sonic games in order and all of the Mario games in order.
Oh damn.
And
the problem,
it took years. Like
I bet.
Yeah.
The problem is DJ and I tried to do that, but we did Mario 1. We tried to go 2D to 3D.
Yeah.
So and then like back and forth. So we did Mario 1, then we did Mario 64, and then we kind of just stopped there because we were just like, those are kind of like, you're kind of like brute forcing your way through some frustrating controls at times in those games, as good as they are.
Both of those games,
especially
so
when you're
at that
playing
point, I was like, I'm done with Mario.
Oh yeah, this is 3D games like that are very
and then you're staring down the barrel of firing up Super Mario Brothers 2 from America or Lost Levels, either one. You're like, I don't want to play either of these games.
Yeah,
so like. I got to just start with like Mario 3.
Man, Super Mario Brothers 2 is play a lot better than
just
Lost
play
Levels,
games that you
I
like.
agree. I like Mario 2, but it's just like it's not actually a Mario game, in my head.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want any of that Lost Levels, like just
hit
random blocks in thin air. At least when there's stuff like that in this game in Mario Wonder, it's like kind of more like it's telegraphed a little better where you're like, there might be a hidden block here.
Yes, because you can jump like in the vicinity and then you see like it kind of like appears and disappears, like because you've jumped around the area.
I don't know if I've noticed. I actually don't know if I've noticed that. Interesting. Yes,
and I'm like, oh shit, there's a block right there, and then we jump up again in the spot we saw, and it hits.
I'll have to watch a little more.
Yes,
because I know they have like different like character blocks too for like specific characters, which don't seem to like they're not like over. I think they're just like bonus coins. Like it's not like you have to play as Toad to get this. No,
it's just like
collectible
a little extra
or whatever
for you.
Yeah.
If you find
that's why it definitely seems like it'd be fun for multiplayer in that regard.
Yes.
Both for competitive and for not competitive, but just like we're trying to rack up coins. Do you push it like if you and Tina run into each other, do you push into one another or do you just run right past each other?
I think we run past each other.
Because that's one of the things that I don't think was the case in the new Super Mario.
No, because you could pick each other up and throw each other off.
It was really frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, it was the best. Oh god, so much of that game was just like subtle antagonism of picking up your friends and throwing them off and having them bubble, and then everybody bubbling at the same time and game overing.
See, I never played much of that game multiplayer, but like that, I would enjoy that if we're like, we're just hanging out and having some drinks, and whatever. But like usually when I'm playing a Mario game, like I just want to beat these levels. Like I don't have any interest in goofing around here. I'm here to play. I came to play. So that's like it depends on the mood I'm in. Like it's time to play the game.
All about the game.
And how you play me.
Oh, there you go. That was good.
It's all about control. If you can take me.
Put the water in the mouth, spit it everywhere.
Oh my god. LeBron. Shades of LeBron.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, I gotta stop
Pro
this
to LeBron.
recording.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we probably should, huh?
I was speed running basically the second time I played through it, and it was like 30 minutes.
Damn.
Oh, jeez. I love how dedicated you are when you like play a game. You're like, I'm gonna play it again, and even if it is short, like or whatever.
When I know
to, like,
that,
just give up on a game, like I'm not feeling it.
When I know that there's something there, I'm very motivated. When it's something that is like, oh, I can beat this in 10 hours and I'm not having a good time, then I'm like, nope, not happening.
Yeah, that's healthy.
Yeah,
honestly,
but. I'll definitely have some thoughts while we're talking Mario where I think you'll be able to jump in, John, in regards to like, because I was just having like so many, like, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on Mario. So
I have thoughts on Mario too, Kevin.
Heck yeah. I'm pumped. I'm really pumped to chat about this, and I'm pumped that we really haven't talked much and that we really didn't see much before going in. Like pretty much I think we both just had that opening trailer and that was it.
Yes, I think we saw the exact same amount of context.
Yeah. So, oh man. Yeah, and we'll definitely have to talk about it again too, because I know there's going to be plenty of things. I was already thinking like, oh shit, I almost forgot about that. I never take notes anymore, so.
I never take notes anymore, so.
I know.